I canceled a meeting that I was supposed to be in yesterday. So I am off a complete day. And now here's how off I really am. I'm sitting here and the intro's getting ready to play. I'm like, I need my headphones. And you have to have headphones to do a radio show. If without the headphones, I can't hear myself. I can't hear the callers. I wouldn't be able to hear Tim because he's in another room producing the show. Got to have headphones. I'm running around. I'm like, where are my headphones? By the way, I'm just coming off of COVID, so, doesn't take much. I'm out of breath. I'm out of breath right now. And I'm running around, and then I realize I already plugged in my headphones. They're sitting right where they're supposed to be. It's kind of like when you're running around your house, and you're like, where's my phone and my keys? And then it's in your pocket. That just happened to me. So it's one of those days. It's going to be one of those days.
Great start to the show.
Yeah, great start to a show that's going to be a long show. We are on until 3 o'clock today, and then Rock Riley is on at 3. T-Kraz is on vacation, doing God knows what. He goes on a yearly trip where he takes off, and he just says, I'm going to Miami. And I'm like, what does he do in Miami? But I bet he's having a good time. Last night in sports, good news. The Montreal Canadiens lost to the Flyers 4-2, and that is going to give the Tampa Bay Lightning home ice in the first round of the NHL playoffs, which it sounds like it's not set in stone, but it sounds like it is kind of set in stone. That's going to start on Sunday afternoon, we believe. But, with that loss last night, that means tonight against the Rangers, they can kind of rest everybody if they want to rest some folks. And the NHL playoffs are here. The playoffs are great because it's like a brand new season, and it takes forever. I like that they're stretched out. My wife is always like, because it starts in April, right? And then in June is when it ends. She's like, the playoffs are still going on? Like, to her, it's like the longest thing ever. But if you think about it, the NHL playoffs are literally 25% of the hockey season, and NHL playoffs are phenomenal. There's nothing better than a Game 7. Now, a lot of things have to happen to get to a Game 7, but once you get to a Game 7 in hockey, there's nothing better, especially when it goes to overtime and you get sudden death. I mean, I was geeking out on the Frozen 4 while in bed with COVID over the weekend. I was watching that. You had a sudden death 2 overtime game between Michigan and Denver. And it was just, when it's a single elimination game, which Game 7 is, and its next goal wins, it's just one of the best moments in all of sports. But I'm excited for the NHL playoffs. I'm excited for the Bolts to be able to rest tonight if they want against the Rangers. They don't have to play everybody. They get ready to get set to take on the Canadiens. Message to all Lightning fans, don't sell your tickets to Canadiens. Now, I know I can't tell you what to do with your tickets, but try not to sell these. All right, the Snowbirds aren't gone just yet. They are still here. And we do not want them invading our barn on Sunday. We allegedly Sunday is game number 1. It's not confirmed, though, right, Tim?
No, it's not confirmed just yet.
That's what's great about having Tim here. He has the answers to everything. I can just be like, Tim, what is, their first game? He'll know, Sunday. He's got the answers to everything. And he knows the stats to everything, too. You have a spreadsheet on all the games, Tim? Big spreadsheet guy.
Big spreadsheet guy. Not yet, though. I'm still trying to figure out, where the seating's going to be. Obviously, the Lightning lock it up, but I just want to make sure that I know the seating before I put the spreadsheet together.
They are going to be, it's so damn confusing. I guess I don't even know. They're going to be the 2 in their division, but whatever that means. Because the seating is so weird in the NHL playoffs. I was complaining about it yesterday. I don't want to sound like I'm negative about it. I just don't like how they play 1 through 4 in each of the divisions. That's all. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit later on. When you look at the path to the playoff or the path to the Stanley Cup for the Lightning, it's a tough path. And then you go look at the Vegas Golden Knights, who would be a pretty low seed. I think they'd be the 10th seed if they were in the East. They wouldn't even be in the playoffs. They have a pretty easy path, up until the Western Conference Final. So, I don't like the way that they do it anymore. And we'll talk more about things in sports we missed from back in the day. That might be one of mine coming up later in the show. But, yeah, Stanley Cup playoffs, they are right around the corner. We can't wait to see the Lightning get in action. We'll talk more about the Lightning later on, what the expectations are for them in the playoffs this year. I don't necessarily think the expectation is to win the Stanley Cup, but I have set a bar where I need them to get to be an acceptable season. And I can tell you this, losing to Montreal in round 1 would not be an acceptable season. Now, I'm not saying they got to win the Stanley Cup either, but somewhere in between to make me happy. Last night, you know what else made me happy? The Yankees losing to the Angels. God, I feel like I've got to say that a lot on this show lately. The Yankees losing. The Yankees lost last night 7-1 to the Angels.
Yankees lose.
There's nothing better than when they say that Yankees lose. And you know who else lost last night? The Orioles. 4-3 to Arizona. And so we woke up today, and our Tampa Bay Rays are in first place. So congratulations to the Tampa Bay Rays. Nobody thought they'd be here, but here they are because they won 8-5 last night. Now, I don't like to get too excited. What are we, 16 games into the season? I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're going to win the AL East, but, hey, they're playing good ball. They're playing fun baseball. You know, even when the Rays are good sometimes, they're not always the most fun brand of ball, but I think they've been really fun. Now, clean up the minor issues they have with errors, which the last couple of games they have, that hasn't really been a problem. And, I still think the bullpen is going to be an issue, all season long with the Tampa Bay Rays. I think they're going to kind of live and die by, most likely live and die by the bullpen. And then the bullpen came in last night, and they gave up 2 more runs there in the 9th inning. When I'm trying to go to bed, it's 8-3, and then all of a sudden it's 8-5, and I'm like, can we just get this thing over with? I'm ready to move on. And I had to stay out. I don't like the 7:40 start. The 7:40 start's a little, everything just, I felt like it was, close to 11 o'clock when that game finally ended. I missed the 6:40 starts. And I know a lot of people don't like the 6:40 starts either because you feel like you can't get to the trop quick enough. And, that, I guess, partially is true. But for TV's sake, I love the 6:40 start. There's nothing better. But, yeah, look, the bullpen, for the most part, wasn't horrible last night. Obviously, the 2-run home run in the 9th is something you want to clean up. But I started to go through the ERAs of the bullpen. Boy, is it not pretty. It is. It's not pretty at all. Let me start with all the relief pitchers here. 6.97, 6 ERA. 9.35, 8.1, 4.26, 7.94, 8.44, 1.69, 7.71, and then 0.00, which is a guy who just got called up. Hunter Biggie is the 1.69. He's been good, only 5.1 innings pitched, but, man, those are some high ERAs that they have got to cut back on because, like I said, this team can only go as far as the bullpen can take them. They're going to need to be better, and I think they've gotten better as the season has progressed, but they're still not where they need to be. I do feel like the last few times Kevin Kelly's gone out, I've trusted him a little bit more, but he's still got an ERA north of 7, almost touching 8. Brian Baker at times has been questionable, and he's one of the better guys as far as ERA goes with a 4.26. So those are some massive numbers, when it comes to ERA. Like, this is what I want my basketball team to average coming off of the bench, not my relief pitching when they come off the bench. So, got to get better in that area, but nonetheless, they're in first place, so it's hard to really complain. I'm obviously just nitpicking right now, but if the bullpen can be good, I think the sky really is the limit for this team, especially if they can continue to keep hitting the way they are. And how about the small ball? I was thinking about it last night. That's not something it's not something that they ever really did. I feel like they've already bunted more this year than they have last year. Tim, do you have a spreadsheet for that on how many times each team's bunted last year and this year?
No, actually. Though I did see that they took over the lead in the majors for most sack bunts this year.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I think last year they were in the bottom too for as far as sack hits go. And yeah, I mean, they are just bunting machines, laying it down. Taylor Walls, Chandler Simpson, both really good bunting. One of the only things that I did upset me last night, and I put it on Twitter. A couple of people said maybe he was dealing with an injury. But I thought Fortes running to first looked a little lazy there on that what should have been a routine ground ball, and he ended up getting thrown out. But
that was bad.
Right? Okay, so I'm not alone.
No, I was screaming at the TV like hustle.
Yeah, because I put it on Twitter. I'm like, I would bench him immediately, and a lot of people were like, "No, he's getting hit with a lot of baseballs. He's he's hurt right now. I'm gonna let him go on this. So maybe I missed something, and maybe he was a little. Look, all catchers are all kind of banged up. I don't know. I think on a play like that, you have to be running,
Well, no,
and he was very lazy about it, and ended up getting thrown out. But if he just runs, I mean, it's another base hit for the Rays. So
between that with him and the catcher's interference, which prolonged McClanahan's inning there.
yeah, that was one of the weirdest challenges of all. And then we were forced to watch that dude on Chicago like chewing his gum. That was like Alex Golish, but worse. That guy was just chomping the gum hardcore last night. It's funny, a lot of people are texting, and the reason the game was at 7:40 is because it was in the Central Time Zone. No, I'm aware, but I live in the Eastern Time Zone, and it sucks for us. 7:40 just felt late.
Eastern time zone is king, let's be honest.
The Eastern Time Zone is not the best time zone for sports. Like, that's where the most people live, but I don't think it's the best time for sports. I've lived in Arizona. Tim, there's nothing like Monday Night Football being over at 8:30 or 9 o'clock. Like, it's the greatest thing ever. You go to work at you're not all tired because you stayed up until midnight the night before. Out west, they've got it made when it comes to sports. Now, the one part where it does suck is I remember I was trying to get home from work on Monday Night Football one night when I lived out west, and I had to leave work early. I'm like, oh, I got to leave. They're like, why? I'm like, I had just started the job. I'm like, well, Monday Night Football's tonight. I'm not missing Monday Night Football. And so I left a little bit early. So that's the one part when maybe it's not as great, but that time zone for sports, it's so awesome. I love it so much. This time zone, not so much. Like the NCAA tournament, the championship matchup, last Monday, it started at 8:50. It used to start at 9:20.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was horrendous.
Which was it's such a late start for us. Other things that happened in sports last night, not going to deep dive into it, but Diana Rossini resigned from The Athletic. For everyone that thinks her career is over, I just think you couldn't be more wrong. I think she is going to come back, be bigger than ever, and whatever podcast she starts, we're all going to listen to the first episode, and she's going to have so many downloads. But I think she'll be back in due time. But it's like in wrestling, when you get sick of a wrestler, and then they go away, and then all of a sudden they come back like a year later. You're like, oh, my God. I think that's what it's going to be like with Diana Rossini, but I don't think her career is over. But I do think she'll be back. Real quick, Tim, what happened? You know what? We'll save it for the other side. It's very rare that we talk about the NBA, but something pretty crazy happened in the NBA last night. We'll talk about that because it actually kind of goes into our next topic. Sunday Night Football might be on the move, so we'll talk about all that coming up next.